What's up? Welcome back to Nowstalgia. Dave here with a review of James Blake's sixth album, Playing Robots into Heaven. Of course, everyone knows James Blake at this point because he's become, I think, quite the pop force, quite the super producer, quite the significant artist for his work with others. And despite not being quite as popular as a soloist the way the people he works with often are, James Blake, of course, gets a lot of attention as a musician because he's just a very unique individual who's been consistently engaging for the last 10 years, making kind of avant-garde pop music and really kind of bending his sound uh, across albums, and twisting that all and around. And what's so interesting and inviting, I think, about Playing Robots into Heaven, his sixth album, is that James Blake is largely returning to the sound of before his debut album, his like early EPs. And James Blake is returning to the club, which is not something I would have seen coming given the sound of his last few records and the artists he generally mixes it up with. I didn't see that coming. And this is 11 songs, 43 minutes of just kind of weird shit. It's cool. It's certainly unique. It sounds cool, and I think what's nice about it is it still has like the textbook trademark James Blake vocal touch, which is James Blake's love for pitching up and twisting around and changing his own sung vocals to match what kind of beat he's laying down. And you still get that on this album. I think it's to great effect because it's on these, loopy EDM beats, but these are not boring like trance beats or anything like that. It's pretty engaging. There's a lot of mix-ups and switches and breakdowns and whatnot. So I think it's definitely worth multiple listens if it grabs you, because I think there's a lot going on to this. I think track 2 right away got my attention, Loading, with again those modulated James Blake vocals and just an incredibly catchy synth line. Tell Me, again, the beat really grabs you. Almost kind of reminded me of like Darude's Sandstorm in a certain sense. Again, not something I would have seen coming from James Blake the past few years. Fallback, that's one where like the switch up happens in the second half and you get like these vocals coming in, picks up even further, a big build, the kind of the classic like electronic like song progression. Really enjoy that one. He's Been Wonderful, I thought was good. Big Hammer as well. All these right in a row. These 5 of the first 6 songs. Big Hammer again, like these ear-catching vocals. The last song, Playing Robots into Heaven, title track, like it's interesting. And I think James Blake, I'm not sure necessarily what to make of him going in this direction. Is Blake perhaps peeling back from his solo pursuits? His last album was, I think, the most mainstream inviting, most broadly appealing. And this is definitely not that. And I don't know, he keeps you guessing, which I think is what's so cool about him. He doesn't really have a true musical peer as a result. And I love him to keep working with others just because sometimes he mixes up some cool stuff. He's certainly in demand in that regard. But honestly, probably one of my favorite James Blake albums, the last handful, to be honest. Kept me engaged, surprised me. Definitely felt like I needed to re-listen to things just to catch what was going on, the production side of things, hearing the variety of the vocals. There's a lot to it, and that's what you want from James Blake. But let me know, what was your favorite aspect about Playing Robots into Heaven? And for more music reviews, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.